You know, sit, oh yeah, here we go. Hey gang, you've joined us for the structural segment, and we just finished up with the human heartbeat, and now we're working on our structure. And we were talking about Huddle and huddlecraft.com, which is a type of peer-to-peer learning structure. And I really thought it might be cool to dig in to the sort of structural elements of getting people together and how that might fit to a DAO type of framework, or there's new technologies that allow us to um, make commitments that have like guidelines and structure um, in a profitable way, in a way that really edifies and helps us to create what we need to create out in the world.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and thank you for the intro. So if you have to go around the top of the hour, that means we have like 8 minutes.
Just a few more minutes, yeah.
Yeah, 8 minutes of Newman. So
Just give him the mic.
8 minutes of Newman.
It's like a one-man play or something. 8 minutes of Newman. Presented by
Newman.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, so I want to bring it right, like if there's any, as far as structural and operational, questions, right? And I might have a couple of those like burning questions, then we should, or comments from you, then we should get those out now.
Yeah.
So what's burning?
I feel that the face-to-face, no, one-to-one, Zoom to Zoom, like those interactions are important. Like, so this is the buddy, the accountability buddy, like a partner, a peer, like a one, like a peer-to-peer type of thing. And why is that important? It's because there's no, like like I have the experience of always being the little brother. Like I was always the little brother. And there's a strange power dynamic that once you sort of stand in your fullness. Oh, we lost Natalie. She might
I think she's here. She's just
oh, there you go. Oh, it's
just without
it's
video and sound right now.
Oh yeah, there we go. Okay. And so peer-to-peer really makes a difference. But peer-to-peer, when it's just two people, it's difficult to like generate. So like maybe the next valence or the next sort of scale is this group of 7. I love that, because of these 7 tones and 7 colors, like the chakras, like 7 is a great number for that. Like a team of 7, I don't know which sports plays 7, maybe something. But and so if you can get 7 people communicating peer to peer, like one individually, but then having a structure, like here's a format or a game to play or a set of rules to commit to. And even if it's something very basic, like for the next 7 weeks, for the next 7 hours, for the next 7 minutes, and then you complete it, as opposed to just a like a kind of general thing. I love the idea of of this like peer-to-peer, one-to-one thing, but then we're all playing one game. I feel like that scales, and it really could become part of a DAO structure, because the game, you can think of it as the agent or the thing that we're interacting with, like the smart contract or the mechanism at the center of the DAO, the automated part. I feel like that's really valuable structure, and if we can get more HSCers working in that, method, then maybe it's something that we can adopt, right? Like that's sort of my thought as far as the structure. It's like we kind of look around at all these new structures. One, finding structures that work, and then two, finding that the ones that don't work and why, and that we can talk to each other about, we can share openly with this trust bubble that we've created, so that we can be open and vulnerable, or be able to say sort of harder things, within the context. Again, that's where, we're sensitized to value. Like that's where value is created, like other people that aren't a member of HSC, that have not been here and doing the things that we're doing, don't have that opportunity. And so that's really the value of building in a network like this.
Yeah. Yeah, and that brings in, well, Natalie, I feel like you have something to say, but I can't hear you.
Haha, I got my mute on. Oh my God, that never gets old.
It's always fun.
That's a straight win every time.
She thinks she's talking to us, but really she's not.
I just said, Newman, I think that's very insightful. I didn't even consider that as like a structure, but it is quite structured. It's very structured, but it's done in a kind of an inviting, playful way that it doesn't feel so much like a cage, but as it's more like a boat, like a vehicle to kind of like get you around where you need to go. Because otherwise, treading water on your own can be, it's a lot of work. But if there's a bit of structure, then it's like, okay, cool, know where to go. So yeah, that was the intention of the huddle too, is to figure out new ways to interact with human beings, other humans that are trying to do work. So yeah, I can keep information flooding back in, and what works, what doesn't.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's a real value exchange. Like that can be a contribution. It's just like, I'm participating in the huddle. Put it down as a contribution, and we can validate it. And then you've got, I don't know, it's like a second game that you're playing. You're playing the HSC game, and that entails like coming to the meeting and writing, keeping a record of your actions. Is that right, Rob?
That sounds right to me. In fact, what you're speaking to there is like, is one of my burning questions, for the next, minute to one minute of Newman.
It's the time shift. It's out of my
control. No, I hear you. But no, that sounds right to me, and I think that's what we're playing in, right? At the base level, that's what we're playing in is, okay, what is value? How can we come together and share value? And if we're doing it in this way, that's, kind of starting how I think we're wanting to start, then it's starting from this fresh place of like, of redefining value and reinculturating, ourselves, and how to do that. Right. And then hopefully what comes from there, can be, more and more impactful, meaning like more and more like, okay, I shared up, I'm sharing all this value, all these things that we're talking about, putting in the log, and then at a certain point, it's like, oh, well, and then like a paying client came out of that, right? Or not that the little things aren't impactful, but, maybe more impactful in this sort of realm of form, where they're really like, where our needs are really, needing to get met. So I want to bring in a question for the group there. So the question, for me is like, where do we want to head with starting to, to play with, play with like this value exchange, and just kind of like, okay, because right now we're playing with it, in the contribution log, right? And, maybe that's fine for now. With me, there's always this, sort of like energy that wants to move forward, but also, with Haifa, with my, involvement with that, right? There's there's going to be more sort of like resources available to develop using that platform. So, so the question for the crew is, and I think we have, there's some core crew people here, is, do we want to start, playing in, just in this way of like sort of saying, oh, okay, like, moving into like the exploration of playing in these tools, because we're talking about like DAOs, and we're talking about value exchange, and we're talking about, right, you said something, you do something small and you're going to get something small, like a reward kind of thing. But I don't want to assume like, oh, let's just, we'll do it on Haifa DAO. I mean, there's lots of, Natalie, you're exploring different platforms now. I know other platforms, right? I mean, I have, I might have more, skin in the Haifa game, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's, where HSC needs to go. But I do think it would be fun to, it's almost like a way to start might be just to say, basically take the value, exchange the contribution log, and like just bring it to the blockchain, right? Which is, the blockchain is a kind of an integral part of a, of a DAO. What makes a DAO a DAO. So if you take it there, then it's like you put it on a platform, and a way we could just start that could be easy is just forget the fiat money, for now, but have a pool. I mean, wouldn't it be fun to just have like a pool and say, oh, okay, now we're going to exchange value from this pool, and start doing that. And then it's like, oh, dang, I got a co-op token, in my, in my wallet. Just like, yeah. So I just wonder where we think we're at with that now. And then also, in regards to Haifa, right? Because I don't want to like be unilaterally starting to pursue something on a particular platform if the folks who are here now are not, are not ready to do that.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely the structure. Like choosing the platform. I mean, it's literally because right now our platform is Discord and Notion and Zoom.
And
right?
Haifa, the DAO itself.
Yeah, and Haifa, but where do we interact? Because where do we interact with Haifa so much?
I think that's the thing. We're not like once we sort of like really simplified down, we started again with basically like what you're saying,
Yeah.
Notion and
Discord.
Yeah, and Notion and Discord, right? And then I think, right, so then it's not that there's not a holistic systems DAO up on the platform.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that is true.
It is there, but I'm thinking like where, like practically what tools are we using?
Right. And because the blockchain would give us like a immutable, like a record, like a set record. It also would give us identity, which does matter in the in the longer term.
Mm-hmm.
Or like one, like in scale. There's like some cool like intellectual property stuff that can be done with the blockchain. Meaning that you can, like, if you create something, then you can like basically hold the provenance, like, okay, we were the originators here. Like Natalie created this and she put it on the in the value exchange, and then others,
right.
Like adding something to the knowledge base, or like creating something and offering it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like blockchain helps with that, but again, it's much more. It's more of a ideal than actually seeing it go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where do we play with value exchange? develop platform or resources, or no, you have resources for development. And then you kind of speaking to tokenization, if I heard you right. So all that does point me to the DAO. I know that it's essentially set up to host that kind of interaction with the blockchain and creating some kind of token. I don't know how you would do that otherwise. I know there are ways. But in terms of community management, that's essentially what the DAO is created for, is to a decentralized way of managing a treasury.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm okay with kind of like doing like just tokens, not necessarily connected to a fiat, but in the same way that you are doing contribution tracking now, the same thing, like the token just tracks, you know, where energy is flowing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And yeah, and the beautiful thing about tokens, and if we can get, you know, tokens to trade on Haifa, you know, when we can get wallets and things, then it's becomes, again, there's a, like the closeness of it to like fiat money and the things that you pay your taxes and buy, you know, your, you know, breakfast smoothie, or pay for your expenses, pay for, you know, the
And
Zoom account and stuff. Yeah. But if I think there's a beauty in having something that we can trade and use these tools that are worthless by design, which is kind of like it's a money tokenomics thing. Like you choose something like acorns or shells that are totally worthless. Like they don't have a worth in themselves. I think I remember that from like my money history of money. Simply because then you can, and it's easy to trade them around, and you don't feel like you have to hoard them, you know, and that they can be freely given and received. I think there's definitely some creativity that can happen there. I like the idea of like a faucet, or you know, where you just, you know, just each week, each period, each epoch, you can go and get some of these tokens, and the tokens are used for other stuff, and you can sort of build them up and save, like the resource management game of the whole thing. That to me is the cool thing of DAOs. That with that and the smart contract, that basically the escrow is, it's like, okay, locking some funds here until something happens. The whole voting and proposal thing, I think, is kind of, I haven't really seen it. Like, it's like kind of like my worst, it's like the worst thing of you know, here's this thing, and now you all judge me and you pick me or don't pick me, and then, you know, and it's just like, you know, whatever. But I love, like, oh no, I made this and it's mine, and then, you know, it's sort of out in the world, but I can see where it goes, and the money can kind of flow. The voting part is like, is my least favorite, to be honest.
Interesting.
Yeah. I just, it sort of feels like kind of, it just feels like legacy mental model more than anything. But you know, it is what it is. Hey y'all. All right. I stuck around. It's super great. It's super great to hear you, and I'm glad for a like a small sort of group. I do think that like person to person communication in a group of 3 is really ideal. So we'll see you next time. Friday, possibly a skill share.
Fridays, I've committed to doing it. So
you're doing it, yeah. I will try to stop in. It'll be the first day that I'm on my trip with my my dad's trip to North Carolina. So I may introduce you to my dad. That'll be kind of fun. We'll have you on as we cruise through our tour. So that'll be cool.
Oh, that sounds really nice.
Oh, it's going to be great. 10 days in the old home place. We're going to go see all the Newman all my dead ancestors, and a couple of live ones too,
Yeah. Oh, good. That's a good
Awesome.
mix.
Yeah.
I think so.
Nice, man. All right. Well, maybe we'll see you on Friday.
Yeah.
And yeah, obviously we'll just, be in touch, and thank you for the input.
Yeah. Likewise. Thank you.
Someone
Bye.
to my
Bye.
door.
Okay. And now we can continue.
Someone just came to my door. Can I come call you back, or take
Sure.
5?
Yeah, let's take 5. I'll just hang here. Sounds good.
Fast.
Yeah, so
Awesome.
right. So that's that's the question there. So yeah, I think maybe now we're at the point where we can take a look at the at the HIFA platform and answer that question about how we would share value. How does that sound?
It sounds great. Show me what you
Great.
got.
All right, here we are. All right, let me get to. All right, yeah, holistic systems. Okay, so, and of course you can join holistic systems super easy. You just go to, I mean, you know how to do it. You go to the DAO and you click become a member.
And then yeah, vote me in.
Yeah. So there's new, right? So I haven't really even played around with it all that much at all since beta came out. But aware. Oh, so yeah. So now there's things in here that I haven't, that weren't here before. So so here's the the roles and the reward tiers, which I think is like the salary bands. The circles weren't here before, so we could create circles. But I think but all of this I hadn't seen before.
Yeah, no. Oh yeah, voice token and utility token. I've seen those before.
Yeah, but I haven't seen these readouts. These
true.
Yeah, that's what I haven't seen, is this dashboard. I mean, we already sort of, I thought I already picked this, but maybe you can make adjustments now. I mean, the token is the co-op token. At least that's how it has been. Not sure what the elections is. Oh yeah, the tokens. And then what was the last thing? So so how to actually do it? I don't know. That's a good question. As far as okay, we bring people in, we have tokens. How do we create? Maybe the first thing is we have to create, a token pool. Maybe we just, I think you do a proposal for that, right? And you say, okay, well, we're gonna create a token pool of 1,000 tokens. And and then those tokens are going to be in the treasury, in our group treasury. And then, when somebody makes a value contribution, geez, I don't know. I mean, I guess we're figuring it all out now.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would even encourage people show up to this Skillshare and they get their first token free, or because that was the beauty behind, I keep referring back to the gratitude token, but
yeah,
I think you had a certain amount of gratitude, but it was worthless unless you spent it. So you would have to give gratitude to people, and then that gratitude, so the computer would record the exchange of gratitude and then replace the gratitude with a seed token.
Yeah.
So for giving and receiving gratitude, you would get reward. But that idea of, you know, even just like attending a meeting and then just, I don't know, I can't just like hand out, it's like handing out Halloween candy. It's like, hey, you came for the meeting, here, get a token.
Yeah.
But for the, you know, the initial stages, I think that's a great way to kind of like introduce people to just the giving and receiving, and like I said, using the mechanism, knowing where to look for it, how to log in. Like it just starts with all those very base level things, and interaction can be fun. I'm sure Newman can come up with some kind of party game or something to, you know, like answer these questions and you like get tokens, or I don't know, like there's whatever. That's all aside from the point, but just engaging in light, playful ways to interact with the token before it becomes attached to a fiat, where it becomes a little bit more responsible, a little bit more like you got to pay attention to the decisions. It's got to be like, yeah, that elected, voted treasury. But at the beginning stages, it can literally just be like, this is monopoly money, and we're learning how it moves around, how it exchanges.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. Yeah. Okay, so because like we're playing with it, you know, like we're playing, but then we're not playing. Meaning like, yeah, we're playing with it, but we're not playing, meaning like, no, like we're not playing around. Like we're creating, you know, societal systemic change.
Right?
You know?
Yes, but we got to start in like kindergarten, preschool level.
Because that's where, yeah, because as far as like our enculturation in this new way of being, that's where we are.
And where it's safe to make mistakes too, right? And where there can be like digital bugs, and it's like, oh, I sent that, but it's completely lost now forever, but that's okay.
Yeah. Okay to make mistakes. Yeah, it's very good. Yeah, you know, and I was thinking, I mean, it seems simple, right? But I was thinking about it, and like there's really like I think what I've come up with, there's really three ways, you know, to assign value to something, right? There's, you know, there's assigning assigning a static value onto, you know, something, right? So, you know, one hour of, you know, counseling, you know, or 1 hour of something, you know, is, you know, 10 tokens. So we as a group are going to assign that, you know, we're going to just go, and then everybody agrees to that, you know. And then nice. The second way, of course, is the way we know, which is the market, you know, kind of assigning value. So we're going to say it's, you know, which is just like, how much is this worth, you know, to me, how much, right? So, you know, and then, you know, you can get into like, okay, well, I'm going to try and get the most value I can, you know, from this thing that I have, and the other person, it's in their interest to get, you know, to get the most valuable thing, but for the least amount of, you know, exchange. Right. But that, I'm not, you know, not saying that's good, bad, or otherwise, you know, that's a way to play with it. Right. And then the third way, you know, is more like this gratitude way, but, you know, is the way for the person receiving it, you know, the receivers to assign value, you know, only, right? So I have this thing, and I'm not gonna, like, I'm gonna say this is the, you know, it has a lot of value, you know. I could even, right, you could suggest something, but I don't know, it might be fun to play in a way where a person doesn't even suggest anything. It's just like, hey, you know, this is, you know, I made this spreadsheet, or I'm going to do this an hour, I'm going to present this Skillshare, right? I'm going to help facilitate it, you know. And then there's we have a pool, right? And then then you decide, oh, okay, like I got a lot out of that. You know, somebody might be, I got a lot out of that, changed my life, you know, I'm giving you like all my tokens. Another person was like, I slept through half of it, you know, you get nothing. You owe me a token.
Okay. Yeah, I like that breakdown. The 3 values assigned. Or yeah, different assignments of value.
Yeah.
Static, market, and the receiver. Yeah, and when and where to apply each one.
Yeah.
It's good to take note, and I'm sure you could have discussions on each one. Yeah.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about the Skillshare coming up Friday?
Yeah, I feel fine about it. I feel
Great.
it feels like in alignment. It feels like I didn't, you know, because I kept thinking about it. It felt like the time was right, you know, and you know, I'm not really super, you know, stressed about it. It's I mean, I feel like
No.
because the idea is anyways, you know, it's not like I am facilitating the Skillshare, you know, but it's not, I am not like the expert, you know, I'm not coming in as the expert who is presenting, you know, this information to, you know, to people who are just, you know, there to receive it. That's not
Right.
like, that's not the format. And, you know, it's something I've been working on all this stuff anyways, right? So I have, you know, a lot of these kind of, you know, ideas and, you know, some materials fresh. Yeah. Yeah, so I think, and you know, who knows, right? I mean, I don't know if anybody's going to show up anyway, so.
Yeah, right. Nothing to worry about till you're there.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Thanks for asking, but no, I feel good about it. And I think, you know, it's something I've been working a lot on. You know, myself, you know, that's why, you know, I've been working a lot on myself personally in the last, you know, whatever, 7 months or so. It's like, okay, how do I find clients? You know, how do I market, or how do I make sales? How do I, right? And so, you know, there's plenty of material there, and so I'm going to have stuff to share, and I'm sure, you know, other folks will have stuff to share.
Yeah, it seems to be in alignment with what a lot of people are looking for, and it's the first of its kind too. So again, like we were saying with the tokens, it's just getting into that the process of experiencing it, and then people getting the feedback on like the Skillshare itself, and not just the content, right? Like,
Yeah, I think that's more the point of it. You know, was like, hey, let's try a Skillshare, right? You know, and let's just, you know, like, I'll just model that. What is, you know, what is a Skillshare? And
then finish the share with calling on the next person, like, to present something, right? Like, who wants to do the next one, and with whatever topic.
Exactly. I think that's probably, yeah, I think that's probably exactly how I'll end it, you know?
See what happens.
Yeah. Yeah, because, you know, and I mean, having to write that email, you know, this week about the Skillshare, you know, made me think about it, right? And like the different permutations. Like I hadn't really thought, you know, what's a Skillshare? You know, because you can write a Skillshare, you know, like one-on-one, that's a Skillshare, you know, in a group, you know, like a Skillshare, you know, be great. I'd love to bring in an you know, like there are experts on getting clients, you know, have somebody, you know, right? I mean, I'm an expert on some things, right? You know, I don't know that I am on getting clients. That's why I didn't, you know, it's not that permutation. But it'd be great to bring in somebody who's like super expert, you know, and then we just,
yeah,
you know, receive what they're given.
Yeah. And maybe this is just the first round of this particular topic, and maybe it's something that like people need, you know, the Skillshare time to go away, give it a try, And then in like 2-3 weeks, they come back with like, this is what I discovered. I tried this method, and you get like more of a interactive experience instead of like just a lecture experience.
Yeah.
So I guess you can collect that feedback too. Like, was this a useful topic? Do you want to repeat it, evolve it, deepen the experience? Because something like collecting clients, I'm sure, is a moving piece, like, or like it's always responding to the different market, the different, all of it, right? Yeah.
It's
So,
always responding to what's out there, but like the other half is like, what am I offering to the market?
yeah, right. Yeah. So
Yeah, I think it's right. And actually, now that I meant right, I've been talking with Nyla about it. So Nyla's going to come. I was like, hey, all right, can you come? Because then at least if I have something, there'll be one person. But like at its root, like if nothing else, like it's a way for us, right? Because Nyla and I've like been playing in that, right? And it's hard. If nothing else, it's even if there's no skill share, it's like a getting clients like support circle,
yeah, and that may be what it morphs into, which is kind of cool too.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the benefit of a community board, right? Like, what's the need in the moment? How can you like feed it, service it? And I guess the skill share can change and alter as like the demand and or the teachers or whatever expertise is there or not. So, yeah, I think it's a creative space. Good to have.
Oh wait, here's Zoe just Zoe said, oof, she missed the meeting, doing a bunch of work. Oh, she'll be there on Friday. I said, oh, well, it's still going on. Jump in if you want. Although I should start to wrap it up as well.
Yeah, me too. I gotta eat and do things.
Yeah, I have to do things. Yeah, that's pretty much you. I think you do have a gift for distilling down information. You just distilled down my entire life into one sentence.
Do things and move around. Yep.
I think eat and do things. Yeah, that's when you look at it like that.
Linguist. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. So, yeah, it makes me feel sort of something like I'm I could be a little self-important, when it really comes down to like, no, that's what I'm doing. Eat and do things.
Let's just call it what it is. Let's not, no need to get fancy here.
Yeah. It's good. It's very grounding.
Yeah. And it's also proof that it's like, yeah, this is that time of day where my brain does, it stretches further than it can reach. It's time to go internal at this point. So
yeah, and it's time for me to take my walk of the day, even though it's now dark out. But that's my reality now. That's all of our reality. I don't know. Well, is Canada on daylight savings time?
Yeah, we switched. And you're 2 hours ahead of me, I think. So
yeah. Well, if you want to get outside, you should do it soon because the darkness is coming. It's here.
Darkness is coming. Yes.
It didn't skip us. Yeah. Zoe says hi.
Hi, Zoe. And I'm sure, it'll be lovely to see her. It's probably Friday.
Yeah.
But whenever it lines up.
Cool. Yeah, she said she's going to be there.
Okay, great.
on Friday. So, and anybody watching this who made it to the end, you
Yeah,
come on Friday too.
that's right.
Yeah. All right, cool. All right, well, I'm gonna start, then yeah, then we'll see you Friday. We'll be in touch and all of that. And thank you for, oh yeah, right. And anything we need to go over with Marianne. I mean, maybe I'll send an email or something to both of us. I mean, I gave her permission, so
It should be fine now. I'll just jump in with her tomorrow and get her need and offering set up. I think it was really useful to go in off of like the mobile and just guiding her through like the process, and we were both kind of like, where is it? Oh wait, what? So yeah, there was a like, I know Notion can be, well, from mobile anyways, it's a little bit irritating to work with, but yeah, we found a way and clicked the dots. And that's the thing too, if you don't know to go into like the 3 little dots or the little arrows above the different titles in the left bar, Notion can be like, you're like, what am I doing? Where am I going? I can't see anything. So yeah, I got her mobilized enough that she submitted her thing, and so
yeah,
I think it's okay for now. Yeah. But we'll get feedback from her and we'll go from there.
Yeah, thank you. No, that's great, right? And it's great to also like it's great to have you do that, because then it's like, oh, okay, right. There's these things, that we have to think about. And I do think that that's the idea of why in general now I have somebody just fill out the form and then they're in, it's like, okay, fill out the form, great, it creates their little profile, but like they don't have access, we say, okay, well, let's have an onboarding meeting first.
Yeah.
So that way, okay, we can introduce, right, somebody might be a Notion Pro or whatever, but like no matter what, just introduce you to it. Oh, you need to create an account. All right, let's do that.
And then just to have someone there just in case you do hit one of those road bumps of like, what do I do now? Where do I look? So yeah, I got to earn that $1 somehow, or that one contribution point.
Yeah. Co-op token. But this whole time, right? I'm like, I'm like, okay, we'll go. We're seeing. I think co-op token. I do not think that there is a better name for a token in the world. Like, I'm just like that one. That I think if this works for any reason, it's going to be just because co-op token is a great name for a token.
Right. And the sooner you can, the sooner you can take that name, the better. So, because we've got a grocery store up here in Canada called Co-op. So it won't be too long, I'm sure, before they're starting their own DAO and do the same thing.
Exactly. So we trade co-op tokens for co-op tokens. Yeah, I guess the thing is, it's the first co-op token to get up on an exchange, right?
Yeah, and in the DAO world. So yeah, I think it's great.
Yeah.
Print it.
Brilliant. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, and we'll